Okay. What do I want to move on to next?
Do we want to still go Google, or do we want to go Verizon/Apple?
Well, we've kind of already talked about the iPhone, unless you want to. Well, yeah, that would actually be a good way to wrap this show up, I guess. We've kind of gone all over the place here. That's
from classified security to.
Oh well, okay. Before we let's do a little bit of a change up for a minute. Before we wrap up here and get back into the genuine guest of the hour, the whole Verizon IO debacle. Has the time limit been removed from your account, Leo?
It has.
Okay. Has it been removed from your? Has it been removed from your account, James?
I don't upload videos that much.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
last time I uploaded, it was just me eating the fire.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, if you want to see a human jack-o'-lantern, please go to Jason's video. I cannot believe you did that. I know the physics behind it. I know you were in no danger of ever being shot. It's just one of those things. I'm like, I'm not willing to take the risk. My survival instinct kicks in. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, but no, it's like most of the people I know, their time limit's been removed. And I'm glad for it because, you know, it's like this show, we're already up to an hour, would wind up being 18 upjillion parts if they didn't do that. But because YouTube, in their infinite wisdom, has decided that no, we can remove time limits, it's going to be at most 3. Because we've just had a few conversations, albeit long ones, which is a good thing all around. However, I still don't think it's universal. And the reason I don't think it's universal is because I'm getting some people who are sending PMs or leaving comments who are going, wait, what's this 21 minute? What's this 40 minute? Like, because you're not a partner. There's no partner ads here and shit. What? They're like all bamboozled or baffled. I think this should be the universal policy for video sites like YouTube and so forth. It's like, if you want to put a data cap, and that, you know, it can't be more than blah because they can only handle so much bandwidth, okay, fine.
They do that, don't they?
Well, yes and no.
Like if you're using their Java uploader, it's like 20 gigs. And
Yeah.
If you're using
But no, let's say that's the thing. It should be a data, in that, you know, blah quality is going to convert to blah quality flash stream. And therefore blah bits, and therefore you know, it's not time limit wise, but that's it. They've always tried to like make it time limit, which just it doesn't work. I'm not going to let off on the time limit right now until it's universal. I hope it becomes universal, but I honestly don't know at this point, and I can't tell.
This is the way that Google does things. They roll out features. So,
well, no, it's and to be what I should do, honestly, is check. I have 2 other YouTube accounts. I should check the other 2 accounts, which I haven't done yet, and see if they got exempt. I guarantee I know why this account got exempt, because I'm uploading. I'm sure they've got complaints. Like, will you stop spamming? So like,
that wouldn't explain why I got it with me. I don't have a single video above.
No. See, and that's the thing right there. I thought, because there's a number of people who never upload videos and never on. I'm like, I thought, okay, maybe they just gave it to everybody, but apparently they didn't just give it to everybody.
Yeah, one of my other accounts it doesn't have the time limit removed.
Okay, I have a question for you. Which account is older?
The one that I use regularly is older, Leo Damascus.
Is it, and that's the one that it got removed on, right?
Yes.
Well, it might be a mix of those 2.
It might be a combination of how often you log into it and how old it is what you're thinking, rather you upload or do anything.
It's a combination of all those things, I'm saying. I mean, they surely, they have no problem making algorithms for everything. Why not? That's a combination of activity and
Action X is worth a billionth of a point. Action X is worth 2 points. If your score is over 100, you qualify. It's like, you're approved. It's like, Nah, but they just need to fix it.
Now all the people who don't have
yeah, now they hate us. Now everybody who wants to do shit like this who didn't get the longer than 15-minute time limit goes, "You suck. We hate you. You didn't have to sell your soul to Google and put 50 billion ads on it to be able to express yourself. I hate you." It's like okay, moving on. Verizon just flows off the tongue. It's like,
it finally happened.
Yeah, this has only been a rumor for what, 3 years?
Right, yeah.
Since people were complaining about iPhone's AT&T exclusivity.
Well, wait, you haven't heard the new rumor. T-Mobile and Sprint to follow soon?
I've heard that rumor. I kind of doubted T-Mobile, since T-Mobile's been copying Apple's commercial format to bash the iPhone.
You have to admit, though, they're brilliant commercials.
Verizon's bad. They never directly bashed the iPhone. Verizon has bashed against the iPhone too, but it was never directly at the iPhone. It's always been at AT&T.
Well, Verizon bashes AT&T directly because they're their chief competition in the States.
Well, they have actually bashed the iPhone.
No. But like you're saying, when they bash the iPhone, it's indirect. It's like you're saying, the Droid does commercials. It was blah does blah 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 blah. But it's like they talk about all the things it did that the iPhone didn't, but they never actually named or implied the iPhone. They just inferred out the wazoo.
They did it once.
Okay.
They did it once.
Okay.
And that was when, you remember that commercial that says, "I don't do multitasking. I don't have this. I don't have that."
But they never said iPhone. They just inferred out the wazoo.
That's direct implying. Saying that, Droid does this, that's different than saying I don't.
I know exactly where they were going for there. It's like that was, you're right. That is exactly what they were saying. But
and everybody did.
Yeah. Well, and that was the whole point of the thing. And honestly, personally, I blame those commercials and the fact that Apple was losing market share to Android for the fact that iOS now has multitasking. I think it made iOS a better OS. They're like, okay, it's going to interfere with battery life. We're going to have to spend more money on a processor. We're actually going to have to put enough memory in this thing that it can actually do it. But okay, we'll let other people use background processes to do stuff, even though they're not optimizing it perfectly like we do. Because it was something the end user clearly wanted, and now they could get it somewhere else. So Apple didn't really have a choice in the matter. I guarantee the... Yeah, I guarantee the reason that wasn't there was for all the reasons I just named. The hardware necessary to do that cost more. So there's less margin in the device. That it was a bean counter decision. Didn't matter that they could do it. It would cost more money to do it, and why do it if nobody else is? And that's one of my big beefs with Apple as a company as a whole. It's like, no. If you want to claim to be the Rolls Royce and the flagship thing, be the Rolls Royce and the flagship thing. Don't just bring the bar up to where you have to and go, it's good enough. It's like... well, the thing that... Now, it's... This is something that I'm kind of pissed about the Android users while we're on Verizon, is that Apple, and I know all the Apple fanboys are gonna come out of this. You want your Android phone with its junk and all its crapware on it, or do you want Steve Jobs coming in there and telling Verizon no crapware? This is part of the reasons I think Android desperately needs a flagship device. iOS has the exact opposite problem in that there's only the flagship device, and it's Apple's way or the highway. But do you think indirectly that might lead to Android devices having less crapware?
Probably not. Just that's kind of the way Verizon works. It surprises me.
That's kind of the way everybody works. It pains me to say this,
especially so Verizon.
Yeah, Verizon. It's unfortunately it's the exact same thing with desktop computers. In that if you go and buy a computer from most of the OEMs, a Windows computer, it's going to come loaded with trialware, A, B, C, D, shun, crapware, widget UI, blah, 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 blah. All this crap that you don't want thrown on top of Windows. And if you take all of that crap off, it's still Windows. But Windows doesn't suck. When you throw all that crap, buy me. It's like, anyways, what were you going to say, James?
I was going to say, I disagree with you. I think even without that crap, it still sucks.
I prefer Linux. That's why I use Linux. I prefer a true, more powerful OS. But you have... I'm just saying, Windows doesn't have a lot of things I think a modern OS should, but it is not the oh dear God OS that's made out to be by some OEMs that just load it with oh dear God crap. And unfortunately, that is...
Especially not iterations after ME.
Yeah, and that is something that unfortunately is starting to happen with Android. And that Android itself, and I'm kind of afraid of this, to be honest. Android is actually a pretty good OS for mobile devices. But it's starting to get crapified by some carriers and OEMs that could give a shit that they have a good product. They want to crapify it.
I mean, it's got to be profitable,
Oh no, it is. And I'll give you an example of one of the crapwares Verizon puts on their thing. Would you like to give us $2 a month? No? I'll bug you again tomorrow. Would you like to give us $2 a month? No. Eventually to shut it up, because you can't remove it without rooting the phone. You go, you know what? For $2 a month for you to shut the fuck up? Sold! And that really is what all that stuff is about. It's like, am I annoying enough that you're willing to give me money? Am I annoying enough that you're willing to give me money? Am I annoying enough now? it's like and they'll figure out a way to, and that's the whole point of that software. And it hurts the platform. It does.
I got this guy.
Well, yeah. Again, but see, that was the flagship Android phone. It was one of those. This was Android as it's intended to be. So, and if that exists, you realize, boy, they've really crapped this. You're mad at Verizon. You're not mad at Google or Android. And that you should be mad at the person who did it, not...
I have a question. Did the Nexus S suffer from any of that kind of thing? Or is it still a true Google flagship device?
As I understand, the Nexus S has pure stock Android.
It has pure stock, but it's a crappy device.
Just comparatively, it's like I'm kind of glad that it didn't make my Nexus 1 completely obsolete.
Oh, but that was the thing. I want I want a flagship phone to come out that makes the Nexus 1 completely obsolete. Here's what I want to see come out. I want to see a phone that's stock Android, that's available both, that's using the Qualcomm chipset, so it's both CDMA and GSM and LTE. So, you know, it's across the board. This is the device. So even though there's no way you can take the unlocked one to Verizon because they database lock, Verizon could order the phone. And I want it to be stock Android, and I want it to be one of the tri-core Tegras. You know, I just want it to be a flagship. I want it to make the Nexus 1 look like an iPhone 1. That's what I want. It's like I know that'll hurt you, and then you'll go, Google screwed me.
I can't afford to get another phone yet.
Well, yeah, but it's not like your phone's a piece of shit either. It just won't be the latest and greatest or the best.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And I'll sit here and taunt you with my Nexus Infinity. It's like,
yeah.
What do we think about that? Now, the real thing with this Verizon thing is, okay, it removes a lot of the Apple and Orange thing, which is a good thing for the end user, but you still have the limitations of CDMA versus GSM. Do you think there's going to be a mass AT&T exodus? Do you think everybody at AT&T is just going to kind of sit back and go, well, let's see if it's a iPhone design flaw or an AT&T network issue, or if my city just sucks? Do you think the no data and voice is going to be a real deal breaker for iOS users? It's like there's a lot of up in the airs here right now. It's like they're going to sell a lot of units, but after the fire dies down and the flash and the pan goes away and we get to the real nit and gritty in about 3 to 6 months, if you're an iOS person, which none of us are, so I will ask an iOS person later this week.
I had a family member become an iOS person.
Okay, so they're on AT&T. Are they looking forward to Verizon?
No. She got an iPod.
Okay. Okay. But it's one of those that's like, what do we think on that?
Okay, say it again.
Well, I mean, thing one, CDMA versus GSM. One of the rumors is that the big update for the iPhone, this thing, is the next update of iOS for the iPhone is going to bring Wi-Fi tethering to the GSM version. If that's the case, you know, it's AT&T. You can use data and voice at the same time, albeit with a data cap. Verizon, supposedly unlimited data, but if you're using your data in your Wi-Fi hotspot, you can't make a phone call. It's like the demo that Steve Jobs gave with the iPhone last time when they debuted multitasking. With the iOS multitasking and stuff. It's like you're browsing the internet and somebody calls you.
The Verizon iPhone, but most people just aren't going to change.
Aren't going to change to Verizon or what?
Yeah. I think that AT&T will improve enough that they'll be able to keep most of their people.
Okay.
Well, that's the good part right there. They're going to have to improve.
Yeah, it's like competition's always good. They have to get better.
I think they will.
Although, what I am really waiting to see here, and you know, I'm kind of hoping that all these Verizon iPhones don't work. And the reason I'm saying that is because we don't know, but there are enough things that point to the idea that maybe all these antenna issues are actually a design flaw in the iPhone. And I'm going to laugh my ass off if all these people go buy a Verizon iPhone and they go, I just got a new 2-year contract and my phone doesn't work any better. It's like, I'm just going to kind of, because it's not a universal problem. You know, it's Tiny's iPhone. his 3G. It never worked right. Like there are areas of town here never worked right. My little G1, 4 bars. His iPhone. Searching for signals, sir. Searching for signals, sir. It's it's one of those things, and they were both on the AT&T network. It was just one of those too fun, but but that didn't necessarily mean that it was the iPhone. It could just be a weird combination of other things. It's gonna be so it's gonna be one of those just weird things to find out.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Sounds exciting.
Wow.
Whatever happens, sounds exciting.
Yeah, it does. That's okay.
I don't know what else to say.
I don't know what else to say on this. I mean, it's kind of all been said. We'll find out in 2 or 3 weeks when the reviews start coming out, and people will either be static as hell, no matter what. Apple will sell a lot of shit. Their stock will go up while Steve Jobs is gone, which I do think is the plan. Because no matter what, when they start selling all those iPhones next month, Apple stock's going to go up. So they're trying to associate Apple stock can go up when Steve Jobs isn't here.
I mean, Steve Jobs probably is actually sick, but
he's well, yeah, I know, but let's put it this.
Just wanted to.
I know. I'm not saying he's pretending to be sick or anything. He's a 70-something-year-old man. You know what? I think he's sick. It's like have you ever met a 70-something-year-old person that is 100% well? I'm just saying. That's like, I'm not trying to belittle old people or anything. I'm just saying that's like, they're just being. But I think, I don't think he's
making sure that people don't walk away with this thinking that we think that Jobs is fake.
No. Well, I could get really morbid here and say I think the best thing that could happen to Apple would be if Steve Jobs drops dead. I didn't say it would, I said it could be.
Oh, wow.
well, think about it. What are the biggest hindrances?
That's almost as bad as my lowest, where I accused Apple of being the Antichrist.
Well, okay, ignoring the.
I think it's actually an order of magnitude less bad.
Ignoring the fanboyism for a while, ignoring the Steve Jobs love fetish that the industry has, ignoring all of that shit, what are the 3 big problems for Apple as a company? Apple thinks they have everything perfect. A lot of that stems from Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs wants it this way and this way only, and any other way is wrong! Steve Jobs, because of when he grew up, when he got into the computer industry on his side, he is tied desperately to the all roads lead to us experience business model. And if you question Steve Jobs at Apple, your life expectancy at that company is that. If he goes away, and whoever comes in and takes over for him, or whatever group of people come in and take over for him, can keep all the good parts of Apple. We're still going to make what we consider to be pretty things. We're not going to try and please everybody. We're going to do what we want, and this is it, like it or hate it. This is what it's. They keep that, but they loosen up on those few things, on the idea that maybe there's a better way, and we should listen to users and other people. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do it, but we're not going to just shut it out. We're not going to let perfection become the enemy of great, but we're not going to think great is perfection, which is a problem at Apple as a company right now. That's why it took so long for multitasking to come to iOS. Like if Steve Jobs doesn't want it, even if it makes perfect business sense to do it, Apple will wait 18 months to 3 years to do it, until the point it doesn't even make business sense to do it anymore. It's now we're doing it too now. That would go away from Apple if Steve Jobs was not with the company. anymore.
You think so?
Well, it could. Let's put it this way. It has no way in hell is it ever going to go away from that company as long as Steve Jobs is with it. The only way it has a chance in hell to go away. So that's why I said could. I didn't say would. I'm not wishing ill to Steve Jobs. Whether you like or hate Apple, you have to acknowledge he has contributed a lot to the computer industry. I think Wozniak contributed just as much, if not more. The same thing with Bill Gates. I'm just saying, as long as Steve Jobs is with Apple, Apple will never be able to release its weaknesses. It will never be able to become the company it could be, and it will ultimately consider the end user to be its enemy, rather than its customer.
Maybe Apple would become something more appealing to us without Jobs, or if
no, it's like
so much fun.
The big problems at Apple is for some reason they have it in their ball, largely because of Steve Jobs, that their customer is their enemy. It's like, you evil customer! How dare you! I'm like, no, this is your customer. This is who you're trying to please. So it's like, and I think they'd be a much better company, and I think the computer industry as a whole would be a lot better if Apple lost that. So that's.
I wonder if that's so much of what you're saying as it is that Apple is like a girlfriend who doesn't trust you.
That's exactly what Apple's like. My terms, my terms, my way only. It's like, you know what eventually happens, guys? Because according to the metrics, almost everybody watching this is a guy. Guys, and you few girls that are watching, y'all too. When y'all try it, you girls, when you try and Uber control a guy, does he ever stay with you? And guys, have you ever put up with a girl no matter how good the poontang was when she turns into Psycho Chick? I'm just saying. It's like, you'll stay for a while if it's good poontang, but it's like, you're not going to stay indefinitely. Eventually, you reach that limit. Okay, now that we've gone on the morbid to strange to sexual innuendo and then some, anything else we want to add in, or do we want to just stop off there?
Well, we haven't thrown drugs in the mix yet.
Oh, well, what do you have to say on the marijuana?
I was kind of joking.
All right. Peace out, all. So we're going to stop off there before this just gets bad.